Evil is not bad. Evil is not what you think it is, what we've been told it is. This is another common misconception that is found in Orthodox Christian lore that even carries itself over into the mystical sect a little bit, that if misunderstood, prevents us from truly connecting to and recognizing God, true divinity. There is no way to abolish the dark, to destroy evil. There's no answer for that. It must be accepted, held. You hold the universe together with your choice, your will, the will to love your enemy as yourself. This is perhaps the most important teaching from Jesus, to love our enemy as ourself, to forgive them for they know not what they do. If we subscribe to the Christian orthodoxy of having Jesus and Satan being forces that oppose each other, that fight each other, that battle in order to win, if we see separation in the universe and believe that there's a place for good and a place for bad, we divide the universe into and perpetuate what we would call evil. We perpetuate the battle, we perpetuate the enemy, and we perpetuate evil. Let's think of this metaphysically. Everything has a metaphysical parallel. Ideas are not just ideas. They are constructs in the infinite field that have weight, gravity, influence, creative power. We are taught to perceive evil as something to reject, to condemn, to cast out, to vanquish, to abolish. All of these words have a separating quality. What is necessary is the welcoming of a distorted form into the light, into the field of acceptance, so it can be held and allowed to unfurl. What causes what we call evil is the process of rejection, is the process of condemnation. My knowing and understanding of this comes from my own direct experience. I've recognized that when I notice a destructive thought, belief, desire within my own self, if I seek to abolish it or force it to go away, I divide my psyche. I divide my energetic field. If I hold that destructive pattern, welcome it, accept it, and be curious about it, it reveals its true nature to me. It reveals that it was created by fear and misunderstanding and ignorance. It shows itself to be a part of me. It shows itself to be a part of all that is. If I think it's something I can condemn, I have to hold the belief that there's a place other than reality for it to go. I have to hold the belief that there's a place in God's creation where it can exist outside of God. Thus, I create the very division between God's creation and outside of God's creation, which fosters the belief that there can be something apart from God or outside of God's power. And that creates fear, because you always have this mentality that there's something right outside the fence that is hoping to come and attack you, to take from you, to harm you. So then you need to hold this idea of an infinite protector. You live in a perpetual battle. You never soften fully into your own self. When I recognize a scary thought, a presence even in my own mind that appears to be something other than myself that is trying to harm me, and I remind myself, this too is me, this too is God, this too is love, simply in a state of separation, seemingly cut off from the whole, in such a way that truth is not abundantly clear. The reassurance internally that this is okay and it's allowed to be here relaxes my mind and body and heart. And the form that I was beginning to mistakenly believe is some dark entity reveals itself to be a product of my own ignorance, reveals itself to be a product of my own attachment and my own fear. I am shown the fear that birthed it. I feel the unprocessed emotion that fed it, and it disentangles and unfurls into an outpouring, almost an explosion of love. And then I feel fully, totally embodied. I feel God's presence everywhere. It's so unmistakably present that it is more real than anything I can experience with my senses. We can see the battle, spiritual warfare, metaphorically, as a way to kind of help us understand how the psyche works, how consciousness works, how division works, how energetic polarity works. But if we see an aspect of reality as inherently bad, as something we need to destroy or cast out, we are misunderstanding the greater picture. In the story of Jesus in the desert, when he is tempted by Satan, the key word there is tempted. Satan is offering Jesus a life of ignorance of his true nature. He is tempting him with a life that is ruled by dead matter. That's what the archetype of Satan represents. Dead matter. Material is the only thing that's real, and it's not embedded with anything soulful, holy. It simply is just atoms. And when we have this materialistic view, we only see value in dead matter, and we seek to attain more and more of it, which is an endless cycle. Satan was tempting Jesus with that life. Jesus didn't need to abolish Satan. He didn't need to kill him. He didn't even need to cast him out. He simply needed to refuse his offer of living in ignorance of his true self. When we know our true selves, we do not see the highest value in dead matter. We see the highest value in our own internal connection to what is absolutely true. And when we choose that, we know love, we experience love, and we feel the desire to share love. If we relate to evil in the way that we accept it and see it as an expression of ignorance and distortion, we seek not to condemn it, cast it out, or reject it. We love it. We shower it with unconditional love and acceptance, which is the only thing that ever can potentially transform it. In our plane of reality, in our dualistic mind and way of thinking, we can easily see a battle, a war, but we are personifying, anthropomorphizing a physical system, a polarity of charge, of something that simply is. We do not need to go out and fight the bad guys. We do not need to cast out the evil or Satan. We simply choose truth and love and the virtues that dissolve ignorance, separation, and fear. We do not need to fight. We do not need to oppose. We emanate, we vibrate, we radiate what is true and what is loving. That presence and that acceptance and that unconditional love of all that which is around us and within us, that does the transformation. Energetically speaking, it is absolutely the easiest thing you can do. It requires zero effort. Simply surrender to the truth of absolute perfection.